Lesson 90 is solving word problems with two statements. So I'm going to travel up here to page 376 in my book to work on the practice here. So if we look at practice A, it says the sum of two numbers is 98. The difference of the same two numbers is 40. What are the numbers? So I hope you can recognize, much like the value problems just before, this is going to involve writing two equations with two variables so that we can solve for both of those variables, okay? So the sum of two numbers is 98. The difference of the same two numbers is 40. What are the numbers? Okay, so we've come down to my solution, okay? Again, create two equations and solve your system. So practice A. So the first equation that I set up says A plus B equals 98. It tells us that the sum of two numbers is 98, okay? And then my second equation is the difference. So the difference of the same two numbers is 40. So A minus B is equal to 40, all right? And then if we go ahead and we solve that, look, the plus B and the minus B already, if I add those two equations together, they will cancel. So that's all I need to do. I don't need to do anything to be able to use elimination. So I'm going to end up with 2A is equal to 138 by adding the 98 and the 40. Divide both sides by 2. So A is equal to 69. Okay. If A is equal to 69, then I know I can find B by substituting it into one of those equations up there. B is equal to 69 minus B, so 69 minus B is equal to 40. So if we have to find B, we can obviously see that B must be 29, because 69 minus 29 is 40. Okay, so B must be 29. So if you've got your two numbers that you have answered, you can always take it to your original equations and check it, right? So 69, which is A, plus 29 is indeed 98. And then A, which is 69 minus 29 is 40. So that checks. So I know I'm good. All right. So that's how you do practice A. Okay. Coming back to practice B. All right. The number of girls in Marvin's class exceeded the number of boys by 11. If there were 37 pupils in the class, how many were girls and how many were boys? So that first part can be tricky, and I want you to think about numbers that make sense to you. The number of girls in Marvin's class exceeded the number of boys by 11. So in my mind, I imagine, okay, if there's 10 boys, how many girls would there be? Well, since there's a fewer number of boys according to the first sentence, I can say boys plus 11 equals girls. And so that's kind of how I figure that out. So my first equation was just the opposite of that, but girls equals boys plus 11. And again, I just check myself by picking a number like 10 for boys, and then there would be 21 girls, and that fits the idea of the problem. Not that that's the right answer, but it gives me just that notion of how I set this equation up. Okay, so that's my first equation. And then the second equation says G plus B equals 37. So that's because there are 37 pupils. It says entirely in the class. So we go ahead and solve. And so this one is easy to do as substitution because it already has G is equal to B plus 11. So to practice substitution, I went ahead and did that. So I plugged in B plus 11 for G, B plus 11. Plus B, so I'm just substituting that first part of that equation into my second equation, plus B equals 37. And I go ahead and solve, so I combine my like terms. So 2B is plus 11 is equal to 37. Subtract 11 from both sides. 2B is equal to 26. So divide both sides by 2, and then B is equal to 13 boys. So girls is equal to 13 plus 11 from my first equation there. So there's 24 girls. And again, if you go and check that into your first equations, girls 24 is equal to 13 plus 11. 13 plus 11 is 24, so that works. And girls 24 plus boys 13, 24 plus 13 is equal to 37, so that works. So I know that I'm correct here. Okay, that's it for lesson 90. I will be back with 91.